Ralph Tedesco from Zenescope Entertainment is going to join me. And first off, Ralph, celebrating 10 years of entertainment. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. 10 years of entertaining the masses. Yeah, it's kind of crazy that it's been that long. I mean, you blink and it's there.
You're preaching to the choir.
I mean, it's nuts. So, I mean, it's great. I mean, the way we've grown over the last 10 years has been amazing, and then just our fan base continues to grow and expand, and it's just really cool. So we're doing our tour. We're hitting a lot of cities this year. We're doing over 30 conventions, this being one of them. And,
yes, we are at C2E2.
C2E2, yeah. So
yeah, because people can't really tell.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's Friday. Show just started. Now, there's a few items that I think our viewers would be really interested in checking out. I know one of the big hits for Zenescope has always been the Grimm Fairy Tales line.
Right.
And your variants are always super hot. You always have special variants for just about every show. Don't you have a huge omnibus that's available right now?
Let me grab it. It's too heavy to hold, so. Yeah, this is the first volume. If you guys want to check that bad boy out. If you want to hold it, you can do a workout. It's actually doubles.
Oh, my God!
So we have two volumes. This is the first 50 issues. Then we have the second volume, which is issues 51 through 93.
All color?
Yeah.
Because sometimes the omnibuses are black and white.
Oh, yeah, no, sure. I mean, we've been it's one of the longest running independent series out there right now. We're up to issue 110, which is weird and crazy, and we never thought that would happen, but it's a great thing. And so these shows like the conventions we're going to, our tour, we're discounting these. They're you basically get 50 issues for $50.
Nice.
So, can't go wrong.
So if somebody went online, what are they looking at then?
It's $60 online.
Got to save $10.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, the good thing is I can also sign these here. Let me sign them. People actually want my signature sometimes. It's free.
Only on checks, though, right?
Well, mainly checks.
So you've got that. You've got a lot of spin-offs that tend to float out of Grimm Fairy Tales.
Sure. I mean, we have a shared universe. I mean, like a Marvel or DC has. Our universe is shared. I mean, so our Grimm Fairy Tales is our main title, but we do Wonderland, which is a edgy, it's American Horror Story meets Alice in Wonderland, and that lives within that Grimm world. And sometimes the characters will interact, sometimes they won't. You can read that independent of another book. Like we also do Neverland, which is twists the Neverland story. Robin Hood's one of our most popular books right now that Pat Shand writes. And that's a female.
And that's Robin with a Y.
Yeah, Robin with a Y. She's a female badass archer, modern day setting, living in New York City, fighting crime behind the scenes. So that's one of our really popular books right now. So yeah, we have all our Grimm Universe titles, but then we also do other titles outside the Grimm Universe as well.
You got Charmed.
Charmed is one of them. So we do some licensed stuff. We have we do the Vikings comic book for History Channel every year for San Diego Comic-Con. So that's a once-a-year thing we do with them. So we do some licensing. We've done stuff with Discovery Channel for kids, so we have a kids line as well. So we do a lot of stuff there. And of course, like you mentioned, like you touched on the exclusives we bring at each show. So we do the sexy variant covers and such that those are very collectible. I mean, that's just one thing. The Zenescope variants, the Zenescope exclusives have just, since we began, have just become very collectible. And
it's one of the first things I ever noticed about the company, and this is probably about 8 years ago at an LA show, your variants, and I was like, wow. Yeah. I'm like, this show's kind of small. I'm surprised I got a variant for it.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the funny thing was when we first started doing the variants early on, I mean, we were realizing, we were seeing them online. Like, we'd sell them for $15, and then you'd see them online for $50.
Right. Good old eBay.
Yeah. And, we sell out of them very quickly, and especially at these shows we go to, and they're hot commodities. I mean, sometimes it's
very small print runs.
Yeah, we do small print runs, and and people want the collectibles, and that's great. And we try to provide like top-notch artwork, in order to get those fans to be interested in it.
Piggybacking a little bit on the artwork, I know there's a common misconception I think people who aren't really deeply into comics have about Zenescope, and they just see it as, it's kind of good girl, bad girl art.
Right. Yeah, it's one of those things that is a stigma we have had for the last 10 years, which at this point, most of the people who get mad about it or bash us about it are people who don't read our comics.
Isn't that normally the case?
So that's fine. I mean, listen, you can't please everybody. Right. We do some of our variants. Yeah, they're sexy and they appeal to a certain audience, but our stories are not. I mean, our stories are straightforward, regular stories. They're not over sexualized. They're not overly violent purposefully. They're just kind of stories that you read, and really it's just kind of funny to me how sometimes you get, it's really truly this, some people do judge a book by its cover, of course, and it's fine, and I don't, to me it's one of those things that continues to, I kind of laugh at
because it's weird, because some people kind of lump Zenescope in with the the bizarre little independents around out there, and it's like, no, you guys are pretty big players in the comic world. Yeah,
I mean, listen, we didn't really know that we would get to this point when we started. Joe and I just wanted to write some comics that we thought were cool ideas, Grimm fairy tales at the time, nobody was really doing that. Nobody was doing, now you see it a lot of, dark twists on fairy tales everywhere. Sure, Grimm, right. Once Upon a Time, all these TV shows. Right. When we started, it was very, we wanted to do Twilight Zone meets the fairy tales. We wanted to take the originals and make them, creepy like the original stories were, but modernize them. And I think it was us and Fables was running, and nobody was doing it. And that's what Joe and I just wanted to do. We wanted to publish some fun, cool stuff that we would want to read. And then we just expanded into a bigger company. And we have been a top 10 publisher. We're generally in the top 12 to 15 at any given month, but we've been in the top 8, top 7 some months. So I mean, we're proud of that fact, and we're proud that it has been 10 years, I guess. Even though I'm feeling it, I'm feeling older. Doors are still open, going well. We have a couple properties that have been optioned for TV and film in the last couple years, so that's always exciting.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because I know it wasn't very long ago you had kickstarted an animated short, and you were looking to maybe make a series out of that. But you've got other things cooking Hollywood-wise.
Yeah, we did kickstart the Grimm Fairy Tales animated. We raised $186,000, I think, or $188,000 through friends, the family, fans. Sure. We did an animated project.
I was going to say, there's a lot of fans if it's more than $180,000.
Yeah, which was great. I mean, we were able to do an animated project that we were really excited about. We had stars like Lena Headey, Robert Forrester, Chris Hardwick was the voice of a character. So we were proud of the animated project. I mean, and that came out a couple years back. We haven't been able to fund any more since because they're expensive. It's not cheap.
Right.
And so, but recently, we sold the rights to a couple of our projects, like Wonderland. We sold the rights to Lionsgate TV a little while back. Nice. We have a series called actually it was a prose book with artwork. It was more illustrated novel called Monster Hunter Survival Guide. We optioned that to Relativity Media recently, so that's being developed for TV.
So at least some big name production companies you're working with.
Sure. I mean, and you never know.
Right.
You hope something develops well, and Joe and I have a hand in the development of all our projects. But it's Hollywood. You never know what's going to work and what's going to take and what's going to go further. So we have a couple things on the horizon we're excited about. Hopefully announcing something later this year, maybe this summer, that would be
a Comic-Con?
Maybe a Comic-Con. That would be big news for us, but I can't say what it is yet.
I understand.
So, we do a lot of that. Of course, that's part of it. Part of it is the bigger you get, the more properties we put out and develop, the more properties people want to sell. You're selling and people want to see. Right. And then the cool thing about us is we create our own original IP, mostly Joe and I. So, as opposed to some, doing a lot of licensing. Like I mentioned, we do some licensing, but that's not our bread and butter. No. Right.
Last question I would have for you, Ralph, is for the folks watching at home, and maybe they haven't picked up a Zenescope comic or graphic novel.
How dare them? I'm just kidding.
No. That's it. Forget it. Sorry. What would be a great starting point for them to jump in? Would it be the omnibus to pick up?
Probably.
Would it be maybe Robin Hood?
I mean, listen, it depends on what you like to read. I mean, if you're into horror, a little bit of horror, a little bit of campiness, Grimm fairy tales for sure. I mean, you could pick up the first 20 issues, you can pick up any of those issues and know what's going on because they're all kind of one-shots.
Yes.
The story begins developing in like around issue number 20 and on. But the omnibus is a great place to start. I mean, you jump on, you get 50 issues for $50.
Can't beat that.
But sure, I mean, listen, if you're into the idea of Robin Hood's a little bit more Buffy the Vampire Slayer type vibe to it. If you like Joss Whedon, you'll like Buffy. You know, that's a good. I mean, you'll like Robin Hood. That's a good place to jump on with the graphic novels. Wonderland's a little bit darker, more horror, like I mentioned before, American Horror Story vibe to it. So if you like a little bit more horror, that's a place to start. So, I mean, really, we have a little bit of something for everybody. And the cool thing about our company is we have a big female following because of the fairy tale characters, and because we have a lot of strong female characters, even though we get a lot of flack for the covers,
sure,
our female characters kick ass. So that's important, and people can relate to that. You know, people can relate to the fairy tale. They see Robin Hood on the cover, and they think, oh, that's cool. You know, you see Snow White. Oh, wait, I know that character. So there's a built-in audience already.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ralph, thanks so much for taking some time
Anytime.
out here at C2E2, and we'll definitely see you at San Diego.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.